been having problems all day.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, and welcome. I tell you what, how about the result yesterday? Oh gosh, yes, we are there. Yes, see, women can do things better than men. Beth was on to me just now. She was saying, "Well, you need just a woman to do things." But yes, okay, we do. Yes, they'd be okay. Baking or something like that, or kitchen or doing the washing. My wife is now putting her finger up to me and saying, "Well, there you go." But anyway, no, if we didn't have women in our lives, guys, we'd be here today. Please remember that. Hello, Beth. How are you?
Hi there, Steve. I am great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry. This is not my home on my. This is not my home. It's just a picture that I digged up somewhere. You know what I
It's
mean?
lovely.
Yeah. It was my penthouse, but I took it off Mark Memphis. All the money he's making. Yeah, yeah. He makes loads of money. That poor guy. Yeah, he does. He
Absolutely.
makes loads. He
It's
does.
the
Yeah, I know.
hucklebuck, isn't it? I think those ladies, they just throw the money at him when he's doing the hucklebuck.
Yeah, the Zuckerberg. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. We were talking. I was talking to him the other day about kind of like he needs to go back into his Elvis days and get like a wig.
What with a big sort of quiff thing at the front, like late Elvis.
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
to see him. I'd like to see him in a spangled one piece satin flared jumpsuit. Actually,
Right. What?
I
Wow,
think
you're a woman. If you want to see him in his jumpsuit, well,
I think
well, I
some
tell
late
him that.
Elvis, late Elvis would be amazing. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm sure he'd say, there's loads of people out there doing that. And the important thing is, the quality of the voice really, and the rendition of the songs and things like that. That's what really allows you to sort of transport yourself into sort of Elvis world. It's not so much about the wig and the sideys, although that the sort of classic Elvis wig with sideys is hilarious, isn't it? I should get myself one actually. I think, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, and sideburns.
Yeah, with the big sideburns. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you'd be all
It'd be
right then.
great.
You'd be all right then. You better get your new husband or your new boyfriend then.
I was thinking I'd wait for work, when I'm coaching stressed out people. And I'd just be going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I'm talking to
Uh huh. Uh huh. I'm the change coach. Yeah. Um,
and,
but
and
you
if they
are
hang on,
you.
if they wanted advice, right, I'd say to them, here's my advice. A little less conversation, a little more action. It's one of his famous lyrics, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Actually, it is. Yeah. What kind of said about music and about Elvis? What kind of music are you particularly interested in?
I am a terrible person to ask this question to because I absolutely love music. Like, all music is the soundtrack to my life. I find, some people find smells very evocative.
Mm, yeah.
I'm one of those people that, if a certain song plays, I'm immediately transported to, a different time, a different place. Even the emotions from that time will come up. Um, like the classic for me, which is still a struggle to listen to, is "Nothing Compares to You" by Sinead O'Connor. Because
Ah,
when
brilliant.
that came out in 1990, I think I mentioned this last week, I had just had to give up my baby for adoption. And I was listening to that song and just crying and crying and crying. And, it's just absolutely awful. And so I still struggle to listen to that one. But then there are, like, I like having a little rave in my bedroom if I want to get some more steps in, but I can't be asked going for a walk. I'll put my headphones on, and I'll do my sort of 90s Manchester kind of bopping Stone Roses type stuff and have a little bop along to that. I like a lot of classic. I like Satie, Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, Debussy, all of those sort of chaps, Chopin. Um, but then I like stuff like Prodigy, like grime, So honestly, there's just so much music that I like, and I love to go on a slightly long car journey and sing really loudly and out of tune to lots of songs. Yeah, it's real therapy for me.
Well, I run a stroke club here in where I live,
Yeah.
and we bought last week a karaoke machine, and
Cool.
I said to my wife, I said, bring out the karaoke. This was yesterday. I said, bring out the karaoke machine. We'll try it out. And I was on there doing around about 5 or 6 songs. And she was
Mm.
saying to me, shut up. And I was saying, well, I'm only trying to be like Mark Memphis. You know what I mean? And I just don't understand him, right? Basically, because he goes to all these places, he does all these gigs. You got poor old Mel, right? Who's his sidekick, right? Supposed to be the love of his life, and she's bringing all this gear in for me, in for him, from the car,
Yeah.
speakers, microphones, and everything. I would tell him to do it himself.
Yeah, I mean Memphis is an enigma. That's the long and the short of it, really. But obviously Mel is in his thrall. Who wouldn't be? And I think he's has he passed his test yet, or is she still driving for him as well?
Well,
I think
she's
she's
still
maybe still
driving
driving.
for him.
But
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so based on what we saw last night in the footy, I would say that there's no reason why Mel isn't a an excellent roadie, the best possible choice of roadie that Mark could possibly make, really. And it's
yeah,
very
yeah,
kind of her to take the time to do that.
yeah. Well, yeah. But then you kind of like you go to all these clubs, don't you? And you got all these small little rooms that you got to dress up in. You know, dress up in the toilet. Can you imagine dressing up in the toilet, putting your best frock, your dress on in the toilet? You know, oh
I
God,
have to say I no I kind of I do get it, and I don't envy him, but I really um, enjoy all the little photos he sends from backstage and things, and I really understand that feeling because I used to be a singer in a band, and we didn't get changed or anything. We just sort of come on and sing to a load of drunks, and it was a good laugh. But I've also done Amdram and things in tiny little theatres, and you are getting changed in the bogs, but it doesn't detract from the magic,
mm,
the sort of showbiz feel, because you get so much. And I'm sure it's the same for Mark now, which is what makes him such a good performer. Is
mm,
that adrenaline comes up, and you really feel alive, even if you are standing in a gentleman's urinal. Yeah.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah. So what's your ideal sort of number one karaoke tune then? What would you get up and sing then? Did you say before?
Uh,
Because I didn't hear you mention a song.
yeah, yeah. I was doing some singing. Yeah. What my ideal
What were you
number
singing?
one song?
Yeah.
It's got to be Jack and Jill, isn't it?
What, the nursery rhyme, or is it some sort of 60s pop? Classic.
No, 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 no. It's got to be like "Love Me Tender" or "Wise Men Say" something like that.
So you do an Elvis
I'll tell
then?
you. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember going to this Sa- Sapphire Forces help. They sent me to all the way to Bridlington once,
Right.
and my wife. I went to the toilet. My wife set me up. She says, "Hey, my husband does good Elvis stuff, right?" I said, "All right then." So come out, sits down, see, drinking my pint, half cut, and and this bloke comes up to me and goes, "Right, Steve?" I goes, "Yeah." I said, "I was told that he does Elvis songs." I thought, "What?" and I was, did an over song. They all shouted, clapped, everything, and I thought, oh, okay, and that was it. But it was really embarrassing. You know what I mean? When you kind of like got to kind of like get up and sing.
Yeah, when
But
you
I
put on the
wanted,
spot. Yeah.
yeah, when you put the spot, and I feel sorry for, and the trouble is, I want like to be Mark when he gets on stage, and all of a sudden, I've been to social clubs. Have you ever been? Have you ever been to social clubs?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
You see, I because I worked for the Labour Party, I'd spend quite a lot of time down the working men's. In fact, there's, there's this crazy place I went in Hull. It was, although this was when my brother-in-law was at university, and it was very funny because we walked in at about, it must have been about 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and there was already a middle-aged lady most of the way through a striptease, and busy applying whipped cream from a can on various areas of her anatomy. And the people I was with had been on a massive bender the night before, so we were all a bit green about the gills, and just seeing this. She must have been my age. She must have been, 50, jiggling about, all confident and everything, which was good to see. And liberal applications of whipped cream, as I say, and lots of old geezers at the front just going, "Hey," And but the thing that made me laugh really was that she then went off to whoops and cheers, and then there was a short break, and we got some pints in and started playing pool and stuff, and I was just like going, oh, I can't believe what we just saw. And then 5 minutes later, she came back on fully dressed and did the bingo. It was just so bizarre.
I know it's
But
bad, isn't it? But
yeah, no, I'm definitely fairly comfortable in working men's clubs. I've spent, as I say, also because I've been involved in the trade unions. A lot of good stuff happens in working men's clubs, and women are welcome as long as we don't get too mouthy.
you know, I remember kind of like I moved to Newcastle in 1991 to 1993, and
Oh right,
somebody said to me, "Oh, I have a doorman's job." So I got a doorman's job, right, checking people's memberships in and something like that. And all of a sudden on a Sunday dinner time, they said to me, "In a minute, we got 20, not 20, we got 16 strippers coming in, and they gotta go upstairs, right?" And I thought, "All right, okay." So I said to him, "Right, okay, you got to go upstairs, my son." "Oh yeah, we know that." "Okay, fine, fine." So anyway, I actually kind of like take their gear up to them, and
yeah,
you can see them in their backstage. You can see their backstage taking their clothes off, and they're not worried about it. And I'm thinking,
no,
hang on
they
for a
don't
sec.
care.
I'll just go put the bag over there. Okay. Well, I did have a look, but don't tell anybody. But
Yeah,
but
absolutely. They just don't give a toss because they just can't afford to really. It's their job,
they're used to
and
it, aren't they? They're used to it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's no big deal.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it's the same if somebody walks in on Mark, and gets an eyeful and everything. He doesn't care. He's a professional, isn't he? He's
But
a pro.
the trouble is with work. The trouble is with working men's clubs is this bingo, right? What they do is they have a bingo, right? And all of a
Yeah,
sudden, as soon as bingo finished, they're all gone, aren't they? And around about 6 or 7 is left,
yeah,
right? Now that's probably all the PX is drunk who kind of
yeah.
like can't make it home, so they're waiting for a taxi or something, and they're left. And the poor singer who's singing must be getting embarrassed, isn't they? Really?
I think so. I mean, I suppose, but to be honest, and I think Mark said this in previous conversations, that he's so involved in the performance and enjoying that for its own sake that
Yeah,
ultimately he doesn't really care. I have to say that my my sister, one of my sisters, Luby, she was a high flying lawyer for quite a while, quite a few years, and and then she married a chap who is a very good blues guitarist. He's played at Glastonbury and all sorts. Um, and they decided to sort of, she was going to jack in her career, and they go round old folks' homes singing 60s covers. So she's the singer and he's the guitarist, and they make a good living at it. And it's the same sort of thing, you know. I think, you know, she said that sometimes after lunch, you know, they're basically singing to a load of snoring people. You know, they're all asleep, but they don't care. They just, you know, they just have a good time. Louise and Pete, they like the songs. You know, every time it's different, and often, you know, the carers will come in and they'll quite enjoy it. You know, and they'll be sort of bopping away at the back. You know, and it doesn't really matter. They still get paid, I guess, and they're still doing what they want to do for a living in general. You know, and it's like any job, I suppose. You have good days and not so good days.
How is your move? Have you settled in? You settled in now?
It's all still, yeah. So the move's happened, but I've moved from a 5-bedroom, 4-floor house to a 2-bedroom, sort of 3-floor house, and there wasn't room for my adult daughter Evie, and we were both a bit sad about that. We thought it'd be fine with her living with her dad, who's just 2 streets away, but actually she wants it to be the 3 of us living together again. So I've had to get the cellar converted. So that's still happening at the moment, and there's dust everywhere and noise all day and that sort of thing. So obviously for seeing clients, I've obviously got my consulting room in Manchester City Centre, but the ones that I'd normally see on Zoom from home, I'm having to be a bit creative about that. But it's all good, and I'm starting to, you know, become very fond of this house, and there's still loads that needs doing to it. But that's kind of part of how you make a relationship with a house, isn't it? It's when you put your
Mm.
paint on the walls and you buy little, you know, new towels or whatever it is. You know, how long have you been at your place? Are you fond of your home? Does it mean a lot to you? You got some history there, or?
Well, you know, I used to live in Plymouth, as you probably know, but
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been here now for about 5 or 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. I love it in Exmouth.
Good.
You know, I love it. You know,
Good.
it's not far. It's not far by the sea. It's really good. Yeah, I can hear the
Good.
birds in the morning. Well, I used to live. You know, I used to live on like a main road, and it was like lorries parking outside in the morning doing their deliveries. But now
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of like, you know, we're on the edge of Exmouth, and we're just about to go into the countryside. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's more quieter, and you know, so
Well, I
yeah,
love the
I love
pictures
it.
you send. I mean, you post lots of stuff on FB, you know, sort of pictures that you take in the morning when you go out and about and things like that. And they're very, very pretty, very nice.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like the cycle track. You know, go down there. You know,
Mm,
go down there and have a set up on my scooter sometimes, and I meet people
yeah.
down there and things like that. But you know, at the end of the day, I think you just it's like what you said. You know, your home is your castle, so make it livable. Then that's what you got to do, isn't it?
Yeah. And I have to say that the massive plus here is that, well, I'm near to Altrincham, which is good. So it's I can walk in through the park, which is really nice. But also, it's just me and the kids. There's no bloke that I'm having to pick up after and debate about whose turn it is to stack the dishwasher and this, that, and the other. I run my own dictatorship here, and the kids just do as they're told, chore wise, because they're all going to have to go into sort of university shared accommodation, stuff like that, and I don't want them to be that person who never washes up and never tidies up. I want them to
Mm.
be someone who's decent to live with. So you know, I tell myself it's fine to be strict. I mean, they're 16 and 19 now. You know, they're old enough to, you know,
Of course.
be held to account. You know, so woe
Mm.
betide them if they don't. If they don't do their jobs, then I because all the banking's online now. I just whip £5 out their account. It's just like, oh, that's your fine then if you've not done the chores, and they do it then. So that's really nice. And as I said before, I'm just not sure whether I'll share a place with a man again. Although the person I'm seeing at the moment, he is immaculate because he was a house husband for 7 years. And so he understands about, he's one of the few men I've ever known, perhaps the only man I've ever known, who can see stuff that needs doing. It's usually only women who can kind of notice, oh, there's a washing up to do that. Like we were talking the other night. So I went round to his, he cooked, right? He cooks really well. And then as we continued talking, he just naturally, without making any show of it or anything, just started washing up, and he was just carrying on talking to me, and he was just rinsing stuff off and putting it in the dishwasher and things without any comment. He just automatically did it like a woman would. And so I was sat there going, and I was like, Mark, this is great. So yeah.
It's just the part because I thought you finished with the other partner you had. What's his name?
Yeah, so I finished with Guy. It's a bit of a story actually. So
with Guy.
I met Mark in January of last year, January 2021. And we got on like a house on fire. In fact, on our first date, we ended up singing because he likes doing karaoke and stuff like that. He's got a lovely singing voice. Yeah. He's a bit of an Elvis voiced person as well. And we ended up singing Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears on our first date. It was still sort of a bit lockdowny back then. So our first date was just walking around the streets outdoors, where he lives. And we just got on really well for about 3 months. And then Guy exploded back on the scene. Like we'd broken up 6 months before, but, we've been friends for a long, 14 years. And he exploded back on the scene, like literally all hearts and flowers. Like he turned up with a boot full of like champagne and picnic stuff and all that. And he took me to the park and said, because again, it was lockdown type stuff, it wasn't quite lockdown, but you weren't really allowed to be in the same house. So we were sat on this park bench, having this sort of picnic. This was like April. And he was like, look, I've had this moment. I realized how much I love you and everything. And I'll do anything to get you back and all that. So there were various issues that had made us, finish in the first place, and we talked about those. And he made promises and stuff, and so I had to tell Mark that there was nothing that I was going to go back to Guy, and it all just happened out of the blue. I thought Guy and I were over, but I had loved Guy very much. So Guy and I got back together, and unfortunately I think he tried really hard, but he just wasn't able to deliver on the promise of managing his mental health better. And not everybody can. Right. So, it's not his fault. He's an absolutely lovely person and everything. And loads of us are managing mental health things. But it's one thing to sort of have it, but you do have responsibilities of the person you're with to do your best to manage it. Yeah. And the thing is, I'd left my marriage because my husband has anxiety, and he absolutely he's in total denial about it. He absolutely refuses to do anything about it. So I promised myself that I wasn't, although I'm happy to live with someone who's got managed mental health issue, someone who isn't going to manage that mental health issue and therefore maybe, run some behaviors that aren't particularly nice. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. So very sadly, a Guy and I broke up in early May, and I was very sad about it. But meanwhile, so Mark had said that he'd already fallen for me in those first 3 months, and I'd kind of fallen for him. It was really nice. And he said at the time, he said, look, I've never done this before. I've never ever given a woman a second chance, but I'm so taken with you. Please promise me that if you ever break up with Guy, you'll give me a call. So we did. And so now we are seeing each other again, which is lovely.
Lovely. You're friendly with I was thinking, I don't know what it made me think about, but a while back I was thinking, hang on for a second, you and Mark Memphis,
yeah,
could be a nice couple.
Mark is taken. Mark is taken with them.
I'm just saying, if he wasn't taken, would have been a bit possibility?
No. Everything about him is lovely. I love his talent. I love his politics. He's pretty cute, but I wouldn't be interested in being with someone who works nights.
Right. Okay.
Because I work days, and I just wouldn't really. I'm kind
Yeah.
of done. I'm so done with living my life around other people. You take it on when you get married, and as a woman, it's
Yeah.
expected that you'll live around your husband's career. You absolutely sign up to it when you decide to have children, and that's been a privilege to do.
Yeah.
But as I say, the youngest one's 16, and by the time she's 18, I will be very ready to just do my own thing and do what I want when I want. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have a partner who was working in my free time and was free in my work time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
What is
that's
what
the
is
frank answer to that.
what what is your ideal man? What is your really ideal man?
Well, I've had a hard old lesson on that over the last year or so with Guy and everything, because Guy was the type of person that I've always dated. So someone who's got at least one degree, usually two, middle class, usually privately educated, um, usually some sort of professional, someone who's definitely a socialist, someone who's good at conversation, um, and that's what I've done. But I've realised that I've been a bit of an idiot there, because I was basically picking men who were emotionally unavailable, as a lot of public school boys are, and I was trying to, uh, like my dad, who has autism, really, and was very emotionally unavailable, and very, very critical and abusive in lots of ways. But I always wanted to get my dad to love me. I always lived in hope that one day he would actually say he approved of something that I'd done. And I think in my relationships with a lot of the partners I've picked someone who's like my dad, believing that if I
Mm.
can like fix them and get them to love me, then I'll be worth loving. I'll have some value.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked at myself, because I've done so much work and so much healing and everything, that I thought I'd moved on from that, but I hadn't. And
Mm.
what I've realized is that actually my ideal man is someone who's emotionally intelligent rather than academically and intellectually intelligent, if you see
Mm.
what I mean. So I need someone
Yeah.
who's got their emotional shit together, who's a proper grown up, who does what they say they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? Who follows through on things, who thinks about what they're saying, who's present, who's aware, who's able to talk about their feelings and things. Like the other night, I got to Mark's flat, and it's the first time I'd been there for over a year, kind of thing. And he was just opening a bottle of fizz, and he just suddenly said, "Does this seem a bit weird to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it does, yeah." And I've never had a man just sort of speak his feelings like that. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? And he just admitted how he was feeling. We talked about it and had a laugh, and it
Yeah.
was all fine. So that's what I've learned, is that I don't is that I'm looking for very different things in a partner now than I was when I was, looking to have kids in my 20s or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you have been hurt in the past. And I remember one interview. I was interviewed, and I could see it that you were being hurt in the past, and there was a lot of hurt there. And I was thinking, oh no, what can I do about this? But the trouble is, though, sometimes we need to kind of, you know, open up to people instead of bottling it all up. Instead of we need to open it up to to people and let our feelings show out, because that's the only way we can move forward. You know what I mean? You
I
know,
think you're absolutely
but you're
right.
but Beth, you're such a lovely person, right? You're
Thank you.
such you are such a lovely person. You always got time for people, especially me and everybody else. And I love you to bits. Really do. I think you do a wonderful job what you do. I look at your videos. I do. You know, I, I just follow you. I think what you do with your job is amazing. And please don't never stop, even if it's because a man who upset you. Men are dickheads. All right, men are dickheads. Right, and I put my
Oh,
hand up. I am a dickhead. But what I'm trying to say to you is, never give up. Right, because you are loved. All right.
oh, thank you, Steve. And I love you too. And the work that you do as well. I think you and I are drawn to each other because we are from very different backgrounds, but we've understood that
Mm,
and this is what you're amazing at doing. We've understood that out of one's tribulations there can be healing, and then we can find the strength to try and rescue others, and help pull them out of the dark. And your whole thing about kindness, it's absolutely the way forward. So yeah, it's great, and don't you stop doing your thing either. And yeah, we're friends on
yeah.
Facebook, so I'm sure I'll post a picture of Mark, my Mark, soon, so you can have a look at him, see what you think.
Hey, it's not what I think; it's what you think. All right.
Yes,
So what
absolutely.
you
I'm
got to
sure
do,
you have an
what you
opinion.
got to, what you got, no, no, what you got to do now, I think you got to kind of like get rid of the girls, send them off to uni, and get on with your life.
Yeah,
I reckon
yeah, yeah.
that's
That's
what you
that's
got.
that's
I'm
well.
not saying I'm not saying getting rid of them. I'm just saying kind of like let go off to uni, lead their own lives. And it's time that you get on with your life, enjoy your life because you are always open up at people, and you're not doing things for yourself. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, part of that's like, I guess you have an inkling of it. It's just what it's like when you run your own business, and I haven't got to a point yet where I'm making enough of an income to really sort of sit
Mm,
back and relax. So need to push on for a bit longer. But yeah, absolutely, as you say, in the next couple of years, it's happening it's already happening as a gradual process. My 16-year-old is already way more into her friends than she is sort of into me, kind of thing. So that sort of natural process is happening. And yeah, so it's lovely to be dating again, and obviously I'm still learning things. But I'm fine and happy, and yeah, it's all good. It's all life,
I
isn't it?
met
And thank God we're so lucky to be alive. So many people don't get this chance.
before
They don't get to the age that we are.
before I go. I've got to tell you this story quickly.
Good, good.
I met somebody on here
Mm-hmm.
who came all the way down from to Exeter to meet me, right? And I
Lovely.
thought, oh no, I thought no, all right. And she brought a book down. She came to the stroke club. She gave a talk, and I said to her, you look so different when I'm talking to you. She said, Steve, it's me. I'm no one else. It's me. And I said to her, so everything that you've been through in your life, what's the main goal? What you're going to do about it now? And she said, well, the past is gone, and what I'm going to do now is move forward and get on with my life. And I thought, well, you're talking sense. You're talking sense, because we all kind of sometimes we're all worried about other people in life, don't we?
Yeah,
Anyway, so
yeah.
anyway, congratulations, you found somebody else.
Thank you.
Make sure the other two don't come near. If you need a bodyguard, right? My phone number is 0795. I don't mind standing outside your door with a pickaxe. Um, but no, no. You take care, and thank you very much for talking to me today.
It's a pleasure. All right. Take care, lovely. See you soon. Bye.
Bless you. Bye bye. Bye.